Imagine running into the grocery store for just a few moments, and then you come back and your dog has disappeared. I'm Bethany on the King News Desk, and I spoke with the owner of Parker, a 14-year-old Shiba Inu, who they say was stolen outside the QFC at Kirkland Urban on June 7th. They've had Parker since he was a little puppy and told me he's not your average senior dog. He has health issues that affect his back legs and he needs extra care and monitoring. Now they're wondering where he is and if he's okay. Kirkland police are looking at surveillance video and trying to identify several people seen in the footage, along with a silver or taupe Chevrolet Malibu. After nearly 14 years together, they're just hoping Parker finds his way back home.
He's going southbound down a little trail here. He's gonna be footbailing. Stop now, police! Stop! Running southbound from my patrol vehicle in an open field. Stop now! Give up or you're gonna get bit. Thanks. Orbital 24, 1 detained.
What will $19.5 million buy you on Mercer Island? The answer is an 8,000 square foot front row seat to the Pacific Northwest with 5 bedrooms and 6 baths. The great room, dining room, and kitchen all flow seamlessly into each other. And there are a few surprises along the way, like these hidden plugs. There's a wine room big enough to make a sommelier weep, and a spa-inspired primary bedroom suite with a deck overlooking Lake Washington, a big tub, and a shower that can fit 17 people. In the Northwest, luxury isn't about showing off. It's all about making life easier and cozy. Oh, and having a built-in coffee maker.
A 23-year-old man has been arrested and booked into the King County Jail. Prosecutors have charged him with murder, and they connect him to a case that happened on May 24th in Kent. That's when detectives say Robert Owsley shot Marcus Presley 9 times and left him dead in a parking lot. Well, less than 2 weeks later, Owsley was in a vehicle with 3 other people involved in a pursuit, traveling at 130 miles per hour when that vehicle crashed. Now, Owsley survived, but 3 people did not: a 4-year-old girl, her mother, and an 18-year-old. Investigators say they're still reviewing that to see his involvement in the crash, but right now, the only charges he's facing are murder and a weapons charge. He is due in court for his arraignment on June 22nd.
Seattle Fire has officially put out the fire at this massive warehouse here called the Consolidated Supply Company. It is a plumbing warehouse, plumbing supply company. Tonight we can show you can see a little bit better view of the damage from the roof that collapsed at this building. Firefighters were able to evacuate from inside that firefight before that roof collapsed. Really incredible job making sure that this fire did not spread to any nearby businesses. As you can see, there is no active flames burning, but they're making sure that there's no hot spots or smoldering spots. But see how close it is to all these other businesses nearby. It really is remarkable that it did not spread, given how high the winds were today. It really was a windy day, and that's what made it so hard for firefighters to fight this. So what we're seeing right now is the fire is completely out. They are still on scene assessing the damage. It could be a while until we find out what actually started this fire. We do know 100 firefighters were part of this firefight. They had about 17 engines here and 9 ladder trucks fighting this from all different angles. At one point, they also even brought in their fireboat in the Ship Canal to fight the fire from the water, which is really remarkable work here. So this is a look at the damage behind, but as you can see, firefighters are still here assessing this and working to put water onto the building. No more flames are here tonight.
Mexico! Mexico! World Cup fever has arrived in Seattle.
You can see, look at those people. yeah, everybody had fun. Yeah, crazy.
Fun with a little playful roughhousing after Mexico kicked things off with a win in Mexico City. Here in the Emerald City, plenty of green jerseys.
We came to celebrate and support our team, which is Mexico. Very proud, you know, we won.
Ana Herrera watched at X Stadium, one of a few watch parties here, with others along the waterfront and in Pioneer Square. Fans celebrating their heritage.
It's really nice, like, to see like everybody just like united together.
And fashion.
I like it more because we all dress up in a way. I don't know, we like getting ready, so it's a reason to get ready for us too. But it's just more of like people coming together and like celebrating.
It's all building to Seattle's first match on Monday.
We want to make sure that we are available to help them in case an emergency were to happen.
The city is deploying an extra 100 firefighters to keep an eye on the crowds, and now there's an added element of high temps. The city has installed water stations. Fire department spokesperson David Cuerpo says things like nausea, dizziness, and feeling overheated aren't necessarily emergencies, but can be.
Someone is experiencing the symptoms of heat exhaustion, and they've tried to remedy that by getting shade, drinking water, trying to cool down their core body temperature, but it's still persisting. That is a good idea to call 911.
But the hope is the tournament goes off without a hitch. One thing's for sure, the party has already started.
El Paso City Council faced a raucous crowd after voting to keep its controversial incentive agreement with Meta for a massive new data center. The deal, which was originally approved in 2023, grants Meta 10 years of tax incentives that could be worth as much as $550 million, according to the city's website. For its part, Meta needs to maintain 50 jobs and an $800 million investment. CNN affiliate KFOX cited company materials in reporting that the facility is expected to become one of the largest data center campuses in Texas. After hearing nearly 200 public comments, which KFOX reported were largely in favor of taking steps to cancel the agreement, the council voted 5-3 to move forward with their deal with the tech giant. After the meeting, El Paso Mayor Renard Johnson said legal experts told the council that it's difficult to end a binding agreement, adding, quote, "But that doesn't keep us from holding Meta accountable. We're still going to do that," according to KFOX. Some community members raised alarms about the impact of a hyperscale data center on the city's resources and environment. Supporters of the agreement pointed to the data center's potential to create jobs, while Johnson and council members have also said canceling the deal would put taxpayers at risk, according to KFOX.
When residents took action and installed barriers on these streets themselves, they were sending a message to us at City Hall. They were telling us that the status quo was not working. They were demanding immediate action, and we have heard that message.
If we can close down a street for these kind of situations, we sure as hell can close down streets for bullets.
If you're coming here to buy children or people, I will prosecute you.
This is very basic. We need to make progress and actually deliver now.
When I take the E-line, I'm concerned about my safety, about if I'm going to be able to make it back, and waiting for the bus is not very pleasant because you see all kinds of, things that you should not be observing.
A new Washington state law that took effect today draws a clearer line between e-bikes and electric motorcycles. Under the law, an electric-assisted bicycle must have 2 or 3 wheels, a saddle, and fully working pedals for human propulsion, but it cannot travel faster than 20 miles per hour on motor power alone. The change comes as lawmakers say electric motorcycle use has grown across the state, especially among teenagers, and they want to protect kids younger than 16 by preventing them from riding what's now classified as a motorcycle.
We just got a first-hand look at the Seahawks Super Bowl championship ring. The designer, Jason of Beverly Hills, brought the ring into the studio this morning. We got to try it on, and he got to show us the intricate details of this incredible piece of jewelry.
So Jason, the ring is described as the most technically advanced Super Bowl ring ever created. What makes it so technically advanced?
Well, we had a team of engineers in order to actually design and develop this ring. Like, if you see here, you have the Lumenfield arches on both sides, but guess what? If you press this little number 12 on the bottom here, it extends the top.
It pops
open.
It
pops out to make it an even bigger ring in case you thought it was too small.
What?
And it reveals the words World Champions. And when you take the top off, you can actually twist the top off.
Oh my goodness.
And you could use the top as a pendant. On the inside here, you have a piece of the actual cowhide from a game-used ball over here with the number 50 symbolizing the 50 years the Seahawks have been in existence. And on the side here, you have this was actually the coach's idea. He was really, and it came out great. You have the Super Bowl LX logo built into the Lumen Field arches. Yeah. So this thing's like, you can probably fit like 3 fingers in the wrist.
Well, I can probably fit about 2. No, I mean, this is...
Oh, that's fabulous.
There we go. Is this the biggest one you've designed?
So from a dimension standpoint, yes. This is actually the biggest one we've designed. I mean, this is obviously a massive ring. It's definitely 6 figures or more for something like this. They're appraised well over $100,000.
Now, if you want one of these rings, you can actually get a replica. They're making 76 limited production rings. That'll cost you about $16,000.
Welcome to the 2026 FIFA World Cup. I'm Jessica Janner Castro. King 5 has you covered for this tournament. We are going to take an in-depth look at the stages.
We got a big update to a King 5 investigation. The state of Washington has agreed to pay nearly $80 million to 2 children whose stories we first brought you earlier this year. You may remember Bubby and Matilda. Bubby suffered burns over 75% of his body when he was just a baby after a fire broke out in a shed where he was living. And Matilda was just an infant when she was found unresponsive and face down. She was left quadriplegic with cerebral palsy and is deaf, blind, and mute. Both of these tragic, life-altering incidents happened under their biological parents' care, and our investigation focused on a lawsuit against Washington's Child Welfare Agency, DCYF.
In 25 years, none of us have seen injuries as horrific as have been suffered by Bubby and Matilda.
The lawsuit alleged the agency knew the children were in danger, but failed to intervene. Now, Washington has agreed to pay $45 million to Bubby and $34 million to Matilda. Today, the 2 are siblings. They were adopted by the Strode family, who told us earlier this year that money from the lawsuit will help cover a lifetime of medical care for both children, and is also a way of holding DCYF accountable for their actions and to help other children under the agency's care in the future.
And I almost feel like it's intentional now. Like it's just one cover up after another.
You can watch our full investigation on this right now on king5.com/investigators.
The FIFA World Cup games don't start in Seattle until Monday, but the party is going to get going on Friday here at the Puyallup Tribe of Indians Reservation, just off I-5, right by the Tacoma Dome, where the folks here have rolled out the green carpet for FIFA. They're a major sponsor, and they are having watch parties here. There will be a powwow next week, also some traditional games. The tribe is they're taking advantage of this international spotlight, and they want to let folks know that they are here, they're welcoming, and they're hoping some people who come by for a soccer match, which is free to watch, by the way, here at the fan zones that they have. You come by, you may learn a thing or two about the tribe's history or their language, and they're also trying to get the word out about missing and murdered indigenous women. And human trafficking is a concern too. So there's a little bit of a serious spin to some of this, but if you want to have fun and watch some soccer and enjoy some of the folks that'll be out here with vendor tents and all kinds of food carts, then coming down to the reservation right by the Emerald Queen Casino will be a good place for you next couple of weeks.
A deadline is near for Washington schools to report to the public the results of state-required tests on drinking water. By June 2026, all schools must post results showing how much lead is in the water at each of their buildings. This has been years in the making. A 2021 law in Washington state, sponsored by Representative Jerry Paulette, tightened the allowable limit of lead, required water testing, and obligated all schools to report their findings by the end of June 2026. In 2025, as those tests were ongoing, the King 5 investigators reported 1,100 school water sources have lead levels above state safety standards, and all the tests weren't even done yet. We showed you one elementary school in Bellingham where a faucet tested at nearly 1,000 times the allowable limit of lead. This is especially important for school-age children because lead stunts growth and brain development. You should be able to find out the test result at your kid's school and even specific classroom by going to your district's website and looking up posted results, which are required by law.
With those temperatures expected to climb into the 80s and 90s this weekend, officials are urging people to be careful around the water. The U.S. Army Corps of Engineers says most drowning victims at its lakes and rivers were not wearing life jackets. Even on hot days, many Northwest rivers are still cold enough to trigger cold shock. Officials recommend wearing a life jacket, avoiding alcohol, and sticking to designated swimming areas.
Think scoring World Cup tickets is impossible? Not if you're booking an Airbnb in Seattle. I'm Bethany on the King News Desk, and here's what Airbnb is telling us. Starting yesterday, select Airbnb stays in Seattle and other World Cup host cities will include free FIFA World Cup tickets. The homes average about $385 a night, and tickets are included for every guest on the reservation. To find them, look for a soccer ball icon at the top of eligible Airbnb listings. Hosts and guests across the tournament will receive more than 1,300 tickets, including hundreds right here in Seattle. The ticket giveaway will roll out in phases throughout June and July, covering matches from the group stage all the way to the World Cup final. So if you're planning a World Cup trip, your place to stay could also get you into the game.
Sit next to the food.
Let's go!
Massive crowds for the World Cup, plus potentially record-breaking temperatures in Seattle. That's the type of recipe that has the Seattle Fire Department on a little bit of high alert. When things kick off at Lumen Field, now known as Seattle Stadium, on June 15th, temperatures could reach the lower 90s. So fire officials are reminding everyone to watch for heat-related symptoms like nausea, dizziness, fatigue, just feeling overheated. Those aren't emergencies necessarily on their own, but Public Information Officer David Cuerpo says they can be.
Well, if someone is experiencing the symptoms of heat exhaustion and they've tried to remedy that by getting shade, drinking water, trying to cool down their core body temperature, but it's still persisting, that is a good idea to call 911.
Obviously, the fire department has been planning for the World Cup for months. They're already planning to have an extra 100 firefighters working on match days just so that they can help address anything that might come up, which now includes potential heat-related emergencies.
This video was just released showing a man tossing a rock through a Snohomish County deputy's windshield. This happened back in March. The deputy called for backup after she spotted the man across the parking lot and quickly caught up to him, and then this happened.
Get on the ground. Get on the ground. Yes, you get on the ground.
Deputies were able to quickly catch up to the man and arrest him.
He